Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Game 3 in this series between Ion and Lag. This has been a very close series, lots of action. It's been nuts. That last game, you didn't even think that that was possible.
Well, I mean, it was a really good early game from Lag, and last time they had a little bit of a shaking, they were able to bring it back. Now they cemented an early game lead with the zoning comp, and I had to question the Frog. The Frog, man, 0-3, 0-4, 0-5, not looking that great. Got to question something, like what's not working. That's our job. I thought it was, I kind of thought it was going to sway over to Lag. I really did.
Yeah, and I did too. It was really strong for them, absolutely. And the Frog pick did not work out early, and we, again, the mines, the poison, the weedlings.
They were prepared.
It's going to happen. But yeah, the Venny was good preparation. So let's go ahead. This next game, Game 3, this is not the end for whichever team loses, but whoever loses goes down to the loser's bracket. The winner continues on in the winner's bracket to get a better position in the finals that we're going to be streaming tomorrow. But for now, whoever loses today is going to have to play again tomorrow to win their way through the loser's bracket for their tournament lives. But is it going to be Ion or is it going to be Lag that's going to be fighting in that particular bucket of the tournament?
It's hard to call.
It's hard to call. I agree entirely. So why don't we go ahead and take a look at the picks and the bans. This is going to be interesting. Considering that we're on Sirona, a lot of these make a ton of sense. Ion bans out Leon, Lag bans out Venny, and for good reason. Ion picking up Coco first. Coco, again, safe pick. We've said it before. We'll probably say it again. Lag picks up Scoop and Skoldir. Ion picking up Penny in response. They then ban out a Frog, which ended up helping them out in the end of last game. Lag bans out Swiggins. They don't want to deal with the squid. Ion then picks up their Ted McPain. Lag picks up a safe Coco to end it all off. So Skoldir Coco into Scoop. And Ion going for a very burst-heavy build between Airstrikes, Coco Balls, and then Pulse. They can reach all kinds of nifty places with that, too.
Yeah, I don't think Ion knows what, the tanks, the warriors, the big hit point guys, I don't think they exist.
No, they don't care. They gotta amplify damage.
They're always sticking with these bigger burster comps. And, Game 1 we had a Ted. They lost. Game 2 is banned. Game 3, yeah, sure, you ban out my Vinny, I'm going to go right back to Ted. And Ted airstrikes on Sirona can do work.
A lot of work. They can get your HP. They can, and if with the piercing from top down, you can do a lot of good stuff too as well.
Throw it on the bottom, you can pierce top, no problem.
Exactly. So this is going to be a really powerful combo out of Ion in terms of burst. Lag going to go for more of a team fight comp. It's going to rely a lot on the Scoop and the Skoldir for doing all the work. So Ion, Coco, Penny, Ted, Lag, Coco, Skoldir, and Scoop. Let's get in on this. Game 3 of Ion and Lag. Resty Robbie playing your Penny Fox. Coco being played by Nata Pop. And finally Ted being played by G-Dove. On the blue team, you got Skoldir. Or no, sorry, you got Scoop being played by Adolf. You got Skoldir, or nope, again, Cass being playing your Coco. And finally Skoldir.
Goes in hot key orders there, hot key order.
I don't know why I was so excited to talk about Skoldir. Maybe it's the skin. I think that's really cool. I do like Skoldir. He's beardy and manly and has fists of fury. Like his response to everything is punching. Exactly, and his response to everything is punching it.
Exactly.
That's not exactly my response to everything, but that's more due to society than anything else.
Yeah, you just talk it to death. It's good.
Exactly.
So right now I see a big problem here for Ion because they're all smaller characters, a bit skinnier. They're not they don't got the big meat in their bones like they do on Scoop and Skoldir. But if Scoop and Skoldir get in there, they get really into the mix of things. You got gnomes, you got earthquakes, you got scoop hammers, you got bindings. That could really lead into some bigger burst problems for Ion to deal with, especially early on, because there's not going to be any pills, no kind of big regen, and they're all ranged. They don't want to be in the mix of things. They really want to try to take things slow, and trying to cut off an Adolf there for the first blood would have actually been huge for them, because that would put them in a really good mindset, really good momentum. But yeah, if we can get down and dirty, I think that Lag will have the hit points and the map presence to do this. But if they keep taking big pokes like this, where they lose all their hit points for nothing, well, they're going to have a bad time.
A lot of that has to do with the airstrikes. They're landing a lot of the time. They're very well placed. And the Penny, being able to pounce people is absolutely important. It does a lot for dealing with Skoldir, for dealing with all kinds of people. Natapop taking a ton of damage from Cass's left click, just coming up and doing his best to really annoy Team Ion. But Ion goes right back to doing what they were doing. Ted has machine gun damage, airstrike, and regen right out of the gate, but everybody else just has base abilities. So G-Dub going for that early game damage, puts out the shotgun and machine gun damage as well. Then the throw comes out onto somebody. Yeah. That ends up not getting a kill on anybody. G-Dub just barely managing to make it away as well. But Ion's going to lose this middle section, and now that belongs to Lag.
So this is also the first game that we've seen with Ograt not as a Yuri.
Yeah, that's true. And he did play a very excellent Yuri, but now he's going for a different role. Still team-oriented, but going for the Skoldir instead. Big and beefy and powerful. Now, Rusty Robbie in a bad spot. He gets out the pounce, but he's not going to end up getting anything else, and gets killed off instead. Out comes the hammer. It's going to end up hitting Natapop. Cass just barely going to manage to make it out of there as well. So that's going to be your first blood. Go on the way of Team Lag 3 minutes into this game.
And now we've had games where Ion gets the first blood. We've had games where Lag gets the first blood. It doesn't really indicate too much overall, but the Penny basically brought that upon herself. I mean, she kind of went straight there into the mid where two of them were camping, and then the third one was just able to kind of put them on the blue side of the map. And when you're down that far low with the hit points, the turret by itself was just going to be enough to finish off Rosti at that point. So, all right. Give these guys a moment here. See if they're going to be coming back. And, yeah, it looks like they will. That's good. And, the show will go on.
Well, albeit
maybe
a little bit interestingly, G-Dub currently defending by himself. His team currently frozen in time. It happens. It's unfortunately the magic of peer-to-peer.
Oh, this is fun.
Yeah, this is. I mean, on the other hand, we can really appreciate the beautiful art that goes into the
Cass
game.
is the guy that's funneling us the replay.
Yeah.
Oh, and we have no further data.
Yeah, so I guess Cass has dropped from the internet.
All right, well, what do we know? 4 minutes in and a kill for Leg. They're doing all right. We're going to have to find out what exactly happened to the rest of the replay data. And, yeah, we'll have to get the rest of this epic game. I like the replay system. I really do, Ranimo, but reconnect feature, please.
Yeah, reconnect feature, but I guess Cass just dropped off the face of the internet. Something happened there. We're going to have to take it easy for a little bit as Cass gets his internet back up and running.
All right, it does look like it has recovered. I'm just going to bring up the tabs. We'll bring it right back to you guys. But 4 minutes in, what do you think so far with the early game, Mr. Wolf?
The way that it's working out so far, Ion definitely has a later game team. Again, Skoldir and Scoop in particular are very tanky earlier on, and Scoop can be a force to be reckoned with later on. But Coco and Penny, the two of them together, if they're used properly, should be able to do a decent amount and should be able to bring this game that they're currently on their back foot on right back into their camp.
So ignore the timer at the top. We're going to add 4 minutes to that.
Yeah, so it's the 4 minute and 15-second mark. Currently 1-0 in favor of, yeah.
And things will just resume as normal. Well, we actually did change up the hotkey order. That's going to be fun. Either way, Red still has pretty much commanding, this mid at this point. I think both sides have actually been farming under the worm, although it has been predominantly Red. Rasarabi getting a little bit low. Had a little bit of a danger moment there after that hammer into the throw, but he's going to be all right for now. Pennies can be extremely hard to kill, especially if they can keep going up and up and up on that floaty movement of hers.
Yeah, and like that Penny was an excellent pickup in this level in particular, just because of that vertical area practically allowing her to fly, which no other character in this area can do. That's another reason why the Vinny was banned out, not just because G-Dub plays a mean Vinny, but Vinny just really hard to kill in this map in particular.
Yep, so Vinny, the Penny, Yuri has really good vertical momentum there as well. Clunks and Derples, believe it or not, now nice and floaty. I wouldn't actually go so far to say Genji. He's a bit more sideways floaty rather than upwards floaty. He doesn't have quite that boost, but there are a lot of things you can do on Serona with the vertical movement, and Penny definitely making use of her. She was able to get out of that gank. We're now trying to take control of the mid here. Again, Natapop and crew. Hammer is actually going to connect at the end of all that, but hit points aside, it does look like Blue is trying to fight back. They're really trying to take this mid.
Yeah, well, they've got the mid now. That's theirs. But for how long is the question? Between airstrikes, lightning balls, and pulses, they can get really badly hurt in this area here. Adolf almost going down to Rusty Robbie's pounces and pulses.
Yep.
So red team, again, taking it right back in the way that only the red team can do. Olgrot taking another pounce to the face as Rusty Robbie just doing it for harassment at this point. Rusty Robbie also has the Herring Snack badge, so getting HP for every combo point she uses. And
That's
is that Pet
core.
Rock?
Yeah.
Has silence on the pulse then. Scoop picking up the double liquor sword, so has a little bit more damage on that lifesteal sword of his, and a 1 rank of banner of the triple scoop. Coco picking up 2 ranks of conductor, and the Ted finishing off his regen and picking up another rank in his machine gun damage. You got the Coco on the red team also picking up knockback ball and Chuck's board. So lots of zoning potential out of that. If Blaze comes out, both Skoldir and Scoop have a hard time dealing with it.
Right. And, you know, speaking of the Ted, he was actually really, really low. Nearly went down to the big combo there from leg. Would have been a nice 2-0 and a little bit of map control back in their pocket. But he was able to actually just, you know, get out just in time. Scoop had quite a bit of cash under his pocket because he did go off and get 3 new items, but he also bought a piggy bank for it.
Which is fine. It just means that, you know, he wants to cement an early game. He wants to make sure that he gets that ability to do damage. Natapop going to take a ton of damage, but he's going to get out of there just fine. Yeah, nothing ticking, so he's going to get out. No nah this time, so he'll be fine. Rusty Robbie going to just go right back to farming as well. Has a decent amount.
So,
yeah.
Maybe this is a spectator thing. I don't see Blaze on the items bought here.
Or anything. They all
clearly
have
has it.
Yeah, they all have their basic abilities. And
oh, that's going to be annoying.
yeah, it's fine. We can assume they all have their base abilities anyway, and maybe a couple of other things. You've got a lot of damage coming out on the blue team. They need to be careful. One misplaced lightning ball or airstrike can really mean the end of their team. Like the red team has a lot of poking available to them and pulse to sneak behind as well.
Double ranged, and then the floatiness that is Pennies. You can get in, get the damage, get out. It's a little harder to play around with, especially since you got these bigger characters. They're easier targets. You know, the Scoop and the Skoldir. They've been putting on the pounds, man, and so they don't exactly move nearly as quick as their counterparts. Of course, Ted is a little bit more in the same boat, but at the same time, he's ranged, whereas the other two aren't.
Yeah, and he's a little bit better off on that front because, you know, at the very least, he's not bulky because he's, you know, on the bottom half. He's not wearing any pants, so he's a little bit more mobile because of that. But
I hear that's freeing.
It's liberating, like America.
Oh God!
Out
If
comes
there's
the
any ball damage there.
Yeah, but no dice, not this time. Although Natapop's looking for it. He's just sitting there waiting. He's going to put out the lightning ball a little bit late, though, to save himself instead of try to get the kill. So blue team going to have to bounce off and go back. Red team going to do a lot of the same. G-Dub still in this middle area. So we're at almost the 9-minute mark, sitting here with only 1 death.
Yeah, G-Dub takes home that tower. They might actually pay for it. Natapop's in the wrong position, but nobody's chasing him. They're, in fact, going to be chasing down G-Dub, and wow, they're going to take home 1, but not the other. What could have been a double, I think.
Yeah, and Penny goes in for a lot of damage on the Coco and the Scoop, and then just backs off, as the Penny is wont to do. So Penny still has Pet Rock. Coco now has 2 ranks to Chuck's board and Heavenly Blaze. And Ted now has maxed out machine gun damage and the range on it as well. The blue team, you're watching Briefs and Boots coming out for the Skoldir, which means more movement speed and damage on the throw. Oh, Natapop, get on the throw. He's going to end up being okay, or yep, he's gonna end up being okay.
I got fed.
Oh, what? Natapop gets fed to the worm, but on the other end, Coco also gets killed. Restaurabi gets a double kill, but he might be able to outplay Olgrot here if Olgrot's not careful. But the boots and the throw are gonna end up keeping him very much alive. The speed up on that, very useful. Scoop picking up a second rank in the banner of the triple scoop, as well as the yellow ice cream scone, which means that he now moves faster if he hits anybody with that hammer. So he's now a bit more mobile as well. Red team now sitting at 2 kills on the board against the 3 on Team Lag, but they now have the objective objective advantage. They're sitting with 1 tower, whereas Lag's sitting with none. Now comes the throw on Ted, though. Ted just going to get dropped down, and he's going to be perfectly fine. And you've got Cass, who's now running away for her life.
I'm a little curious as to exactly what route we're taking here from Cass, but it looks like it's going to end up maybe not. Natapop coming in from hot from the top. And he's actually going to take some Coco on Coco action and a kill. Either way, 3-3 currently the score, but towers are the difference between these teams. 2 towers down, and that machine gun, man. We see this time and again from the Teds. If it's not a hamburger phone, it's a machine gun. And machine guns shred towers, absolutely.
They do a lot of damage, especially with the recent changes. They do a little bit less damage than than they should. They do have a slightly reduced amount, but because of the attack speed and everything else, they still do enough that they can really tear through with all 3 upgrades, and those upgrades are practically mandatory on Ted. They give you machine gun damage and shotgun damage at the same time, so it's very useful, very powerful upgrade, but kind of necessary. If you had 2 separate ones and all that, then it'd be pointless.
So after losing out game number 1, Ion comes back for game number 2, and so far are winning the push war here on Serona for game 3.
Absolutely, and we got a couple of item buys coming out. We got 2 ranks in bug jars for Rusty Robbie, so that pulse now on
saw that.
yeah. Two ranks of that is going to do a lot of extra damage on that pulse now. We're well into the 600s, plus the amplified damage for the rest of the team. That's going to be a lot of pain. Adolf now trying to defend as best as he can. So will Olgrot. Olgrot's going to look for a throw or a push or something. He's not going to end up finding it, though. No. So right now, things are looking really good for Ion. They've got a lot of zoning potential, a lot of burst, and despite these tanky characters on the other side, they're not doing a lot of damage. Skoldir now has range punch, but that's not damage. And Banner triple scoop's nice and all, but that's only if you're close to them, and only if you know, you're using bindings. So it's not all the time, and it's not even very often. It's definitely difficult to say. Cass going for left click on that Coco, which how do you feel about that on that Coco?
Well, it's too ranged in a Coco on the opposite side. Getting anywhere near these guys, they got to go through pounces, they got to go through pulses, they got to go through Coco balls and blazes, and then on top of that, machine guns and airstrikes. So going for an auto attack build, you're playing it risky.
Very risky.
You have
indeed,
to, yeah, you have to have a lot of faith in your team that they can get off these initiations. You can get a throw, you can get the earthquakes, you can get those scoop hammers. Because this is not going to be a ball build. This is going to be I'm going to auto attack you build, which means that you can't go to them. They have to come to you.
Speaking of which, Olgrot going down as he comes to them, but ends up dying instead. G-Dove, very low. He's going to have to be very careful because one lightning ball from Cass is going to be the end of him. But nope, Cass unable to quite do it. He must not have had the cooldown. Now Restarabi coming in with the damage. Adolf taking the majority of it. He's going to have to end up teleporting all the way home, which isn't that far considering where he was. Restarabi's looking really good right now. That penny play being absolutely devastating against this other team. Those pulses don't miss.
Yeah, the other big thing, though, is that the solar is across the board pretty much even for everyone here on Ion. 1,400, 1,400, and now just a little bit more there, 1,500 on the Coco. It's a little bit more wild here on the side of blue as Adolf, he gets absolutely chunked down. Cass just does actually get comboed down. That's going to be a ball blaze and a kill for the Natapop, and this is going to lead us into a really good Ted situation because he just picked up the 500. He's clearing out this top. It's only down to the one defender, and Adolf's on the wrong side of the line of scrimmage, which means that we're just going to ignore him, go right back to this tower. That hammer, if that had actually gotten a kill on Natapop, that would have been absolutely amazing. But, you know, you lose out 2 kills. You didn't get any in return. Adolf's trying his best, but he's melee. He can't do anything about this Ted machine gun damage except hit it with his face. And now Ted, he's already left his mark. I mean, that tower is under half. One more bad fight, and that tower is dust.
That was a very good showing coming out of Ion. Ion now in the lead, 6-3 at the almost 15-minute mark in this game. We did lose those 4 minutes, unfortunately. But a couple of items now coming out. The maxed out silence and now the range coming on Rusty Robbie's pulse, as Olgrot takes the majority of it and gets left-clicked to death. You've also got the conductor coming out on Natapop. So going for more of that push damage. G-Dove now picking up max ranks and pills and machine guns, so there's that. Rusty Robbie going to need to use that pulse just to get enough life to stay alive. G-Dove now dueling with Adolf. Adolf currently winning the duel, but G-Dove gets the airstrike, gets the shotgun, and down goes the burn damage as he almost goes down. The hammer misses, and G-Dove ends up picking up the kill there with the dots. Now this push is really real here. Natapop is dead, but Rusty Robbie and G-Dove are going to try to make it happen as much as possible. The Skoldir, Olgrot, trying to look for an opportunity here. He's going to end up hitting G-Dove and getting the throw off, but into a wall, so he'll end up surviving, not hitting the earthquake. Now it's Rusty Robbie against Olgrot in this little duel here, and Rusty Robbie will just, not quite teleport out as the earthquake damage is very real. Now the duel is going to have to happen as Rusty Robbie decides to evacuate as fast as possible with that pounce. Yep. That's going to be the end of that.
There should have been communication right there. It's just to leave Cass on the bottom. If she did drop down with the gravity, it would have just been an easy ball blaze kill. But didn't happen. Cass went up to try to get the kill, and then gravity, of course, fooled them both. 9-4 at the 16-minute mark as we're going into this. But, after the back of that, sure, the tower went down, but Ogrot was up. We didn't have the hit points here from Ion to actually push into the core. Next team fight could be a very different story, however.
Yeah, absolutely. And with the sustainability that Rusty Robbie has with the snack carrying badge. And oh, wow. Okay, so we have the piercing now on Airstrike. This is not good.
Natapop's just kind of down here.
Yeah, doing what he can. But Ted can easily snipe people through the base now. That's going to be an airstrike kill onto Cass. That's going to be a 1-for-1 exchange, Coco for Coco.
Rusty here. He's just zoning.
Yeah,
he's like, yeah, you deal with me.
Making space. And he's surviving.
And he lives. And that machine gun, time and again, the machine gun is just an absolutely terrifying push mechanic.
It does so much damage. And Rusty Robbie staying alive in there for so long. Just 1v2, 1v3, that snack carrying badge just constantly being useful, constantly getting life back and making the space necessary in these fights. But on top of that, the damage that Pulse was able to put out with the amplification and everything, just Ion really played well in this one. They were coordinated and they just outdid themselves. They managed to punish anything that Lag did, and Lag really couldn't even get close.
Well, they did as much as they could, but I mean, I think it was just comfort picks. I mean, this is almost the exact comp that we saw in game number 1, but instead of Raylan, you picked up Penny. Penny, we've seen this, there's bans on the Cocos, there's bans on Pennies, there's bans on Raylans, because you're not looking for those big combos because they can absolutely wreck. And they kept Leg at bay. I mean, I said, Leg, if they get down and dirty, like up there in their faces, they can get kills, and they did. They got 5 kills by the end of it, but 11 on the flip side because the range zoning was just too much. The Scoldier couldn't go in safely. The Scoop couldn't, I mean, sure, you could throw out hammers, but there's no follow-up, and that left you with a Coco Ball, which travels, unfortunately, very slowly.
And I guess this also goes to show why Penny is consistently either banned or in this case, picked. Yeah. So the first time we see a Penny, the Penny ends up being a very dominating factor in this. The silence on the Pulse was an interesting pickup early, but it ended up being enough, especially if it was initiated, if it was the initiation tool, because then the silence would come out, the amplification damage, and then a ton of other burst damage on top of it. Like, that's 700 Pulse right there from a decent distance. That's not to be sniffed at. And they use that really well with Airstrike and everything else. So
yep, the Airstrike combo with everything leads into good, favorable Ted positioning. He doesn't need mobility if he's just going to turret down your turret.
Absolutely. And that ended up being the case. That turret damage was very real.
True. All right.
So there you have it. Ion taking it 2-1 in this series between Ion and Lag. Lag goes down to the losers bracket. We'll see them tomorrow, but for the rest of the day, they're out, they're done. And it'll be Ion moving on to the semifinals.
Yep, winners semis. And who are they going to fight? We don't quite know yet because we have to look at the brackets. But before we even get to the winners semis, we have to finish up the quarters. The team favorite right now from Reddit is what I'm being told. Team 99 Cent will be making its quarterfinal debut
against Team Ape.
That's going to be an interesting match. I'm very excited to see what that's going to be.
I'm excited to see whether Ape will be able to pull off what they've normally been able to, or whether or not 99 Cents will just buy their win for about $1.
About $1, yeah. For less than $1, you can win a tournament.
For $1.
Exactly. All right, so when we return, we will have that, but let's talk a little bit about what these guys are fighting for.
What are they fighting for?
What are they fighting for? Well, we're going to show you, because not only do we got cash on the line, awesome knots, and some skin bundles, and everyone else, of course, did get their Teddy Bear A-list skin if they're top 8 or not, but first place takes home 3 of these Alienware Alphas.
Man, I wish that was a character. That would be the best start I've seen all day.
That'd be an interesting, yeah, playing as an Alienware Alpha.
Yeah.
Like, I'm just envisioning like this alpha dominant beast, because this thing is going to come out in there and dominate this market. So it's a Steam box you put onto your TV.
It'd be like a Super Knot.
You can play Awesome Knots on it. Could you imagine 4-player Awesome Knots on your TV?
Oh,
well, sorry, well, you can't do 4-player. It's a 3-player game.
Yeah.
3-player game Awesome Knots on your 50, 60, 70-inch TV.
That would be pretty nuts. I'd be okay with that.
Has all your friends list, all that jazz.
Oh,
it's good.
Please.
First place takes home 3 of them to show us what they can do with it.